Now at 9, in the face of extreme cold, volunteers in Miami work to give people a space to stay warm. Plus, we'll speak with some Chiefs fans headed to Arrowhead tomorrow about how they plan to stay warm. And
as temperatures in our area plummet, the city of Miami is stepping up and providing its citizens with shelter and provisions. I'm Anthony Saviello. I'll have more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy. It's been cold today, and it's only getting colder this weekend. We go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty for a first look at weather.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a much colder day for us today. Arctic front dropped through early this morning. Now ahead of it, look at this, midnight high 52. But we dropped to 16 degrees by 10 o'clock in the morning hours and warmed back up right around 22, 23 during the afternoon. Temperatures upper teens to near 20. These will drop back slowly as we go through the overnight hours. And look at our wind chills right now, already -3, -4 in our northern counties. So dangerously cold. Wind chill advisories in effect all the way until Tuesday afternoon. Winter storm watch in our southern counties because we do have some snow moving in as we go into Sunday. But this system's going to exit. We have another one which is going to rotate in by Sunday. Very cold night as we drop back right around 12 degrees for a low. Of course, we're going to look at those snow chances coming up here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. The Miami Civic Center is transforming into a shelter for those in need. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more.
As people around the 4 states prep their own homes for the cold weather, Rick Aldridge and volunteers in Miami are prepping the Miami Civic Center for those in need of shelter.
The Civic Center, as you can tell just by the sheer size, offers so much that sometimes maybe the church, just because of size, can't. We can put a lot more people in, we can separate them better, and we've got access to, it's basically a gymnasium. So we have access to bathrooms and showers and everything else that you might need.
The shelter here at the Miami Civic Center isn't just scrapped together. Not only will people who come here be provided with a cot, there are separate restrooms for men and women. There's warm showers, and those who come here will also be provided with food and drink. This year, Rick was able to get support from the city and Mayor Bless Parker, which would allow him to use the center as a shelter.
It's been a blessing, it really has. I work really close with the mayor and Chief Hightower. He's our city emergency manager. And I've done this now for a lot of years. And we try to get ahead. Sometimes we can't, but we try to get ahead, prepare so that when things do happen, we're up and open and ready on the spot.
Rick's biggest concern is a term that's been used in recent forecasts, flash freeze.
It kind of caught me off guard when I heard some of the forecasters start using that term this week, because it's just a lot of people around here have not heard that term before, haven't faced it, so we're concerned about it.
Despite that concern, Rick is determined to provide for all those in need. Reporting in Miami, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Rick says that city leaders will be getting together soon to work on measures to bring a more permanent shelter to Miami. A reminder, many communities across our area have warming centers where people can escape the cold. They include a number of libraries, senior centers, and other facilities. Some are open only when temperatures drop below 32 degrees and access might be limited to business hours. And many will have specific rules to ensure public safety. You can find a list of dozens of area shelters along with contact information on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, if you are getting out in this cold, definitely bundle up, but don't forget to make sure the utilities in your residence are protected against the cold as well. Pittsburgh Utilities says there are ways to keep your water pipes from freezing.
People make sure that they either let their faucets drip, they open up cabinets, especially on exterior walls, especially if they're a north-facing wall or a west-facing wall, that they open up their cabinets and make sure there's heat from the house able to get in their cabinets. If they need to keep a pipe drip, dripping to make sure that their water pipes don't freeze, make sure that all their crawl spaces are closed up.
Remember, the cold can be dangerous. If you have to leave the house, we've got tips for avoiding hypothermia on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. The Kansas City Chiefs will host the Miami Dolphins tomorrow in what is expected to be one of the coldest games ever played at Arrowhead Stadium. Some four-state diehard fans will bundle up to watch the game in person. KOAM's Fernanda Silva spoke to them to hear their strategies to keep themselves warm.
Electric socks, even my wife even has electric gloves. We have everything packed in the bag. We're going to need like extra batteries, Kleenex, hot hands, towels to wipe off the seats if there's snow on them, things like that.
The list of items Josh Smootz and his wife will take to the Chiefs game this weekend goes on.
Under Armour pants on, and then I'll have my jeans on, and then I'll have ski pants over that. So there's 3 layers there. And then layers on the head, whether it's a head cover or, a gaiter to cover your neck and pull up over your face if you need to.
All of that is to make sure they will be warm during a dangerously cold game. The Schmutz family learned from experience, but they appreciate being able to feel all of that.
Everybody's having to deal with the elements. We've gone to dome stadiums and just the atmosphere isn't the same because you just feel like you're indoors, almost like watching the game on TV. Whereas when you're there live and it's outside, it's just magic.
The Joplin brothers, Derek and Joe Rattigan, are also facing the cold and plan to wear many layers.
7 to 10 probably. A lot. I won't be able to move, it'll be a lot.
While the layers will help, Mahomes' team is also implementing some changes on their game day to make sure fans are warm. The Chiefs are allowing fans to take cardboard pieces to be used as floor mats and protect the feet from the cold concrete. The team is also allowing guests to carry in blankets. But there's only one thing these diehard fans really want.
As long as we get a win, that's all I care about.
We're just good luck, so we know if we're there, we're going to win.
Reporting in the 4 states, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Arrowhead Stadium will offer warming stations to help fans stay warm. Hot chocolate will be available for purchase in the stadium as well. Liberty Utilities has issued a statement concerning a collapsed wind turbine from a couple of days ago. The energy provider said an assessment of why the wind turbine collapsed is underway. North Fork Ridge Wind Farm remains online and the collapse has not impacted the generation at the facility. Liberty says there is no estimation for the completion of the assessment. The Spiva Center for the Arts in Joplin is showcasing 3 different exhibits right now. Pulped Under Pressure is focusing on handmade paper art. Threads of Time is a historical quilt project, and the exhibit called Those Who Can Teach features art made by local educators.
My older brother, who's 11 years older than me, was drawing cartoons and things like that whenever I was a kid, and I was really fascinated by all of it, and so that's really what drew me into it and attracted me to it.
Each of the exhibits will be on display until March 24th. Coming up, the dangers of drugs among teens.
An alarming new study finds a record number of teenagers are dying of drug overdoses in America. I'm Brian Yennis in New York with more on this story coming up.
Open enrollment for the healthcare marketplace is closing soon, so Access Family Care is helping people sign up. The marketplace provides people with a chance to get more affordable health insurance, but some users aren't sure how to navigate it. That's where Access Family Care comes in. They help people pick the right coverage for them based on what they can afford. The deadline for open enrollment in the healthcare marketplace is Tuesday, the 16th. An alarming new report by the New England Journal of Medicine researchers found drug overdoses are now the 3rd leading cause of death in kids under 19 in America. Fox News national correspondent Brian Yennis has the story.
Just lit up a room when he walked into it. If you were fortunate enough to get him to talk, he couldn't stop.
Madison Gerchow's 17-year-old brother Xavier died of fentanyl poisoning when he inadvertently took a counterfeit pill laced with a deadly synthetic opioid.
He was out with his friends playing basketball. He was sore, so him and his friend decided to split a Percocet. And the Percocet ended up being 1% cocaine and 99% fentanyl. So there was zero trace of Percocet whatsoever.
About 22 high school kids, enough to fill a classroom, died every week in 2022 from drug overdoses nationwide, an all-time high, according to a new study published in the New England Journal of Medicine.
We've actually reached a point where overdose deaths are now the third leading cause of death in teenagers across the United States.
More than 1,100 teens ages 14 to 18 years old died from overdoses. At least 75% of the deaths were the result of fentanyl poisonings, mostly through counterfeit pills.
Fewer teens than ever are actively using drugs, and yet more teens than ever are dying. And that's because drug use isn't becoming more common, it's becoming more dangerous.
Researchers recommend parents discuss the dangers of counterfeit pills, emphasize staying drug-free, but also risk reduction for those experimenting, and have naloxone, the overdose reversal medicine, available. The study finding Arizona, Colorado, and Washington had the highest overdose death rates. Maricopa County, Arizona, and Los Angeles County, California, had the most fatal overdoses. CBP says they seized a record amount of fentanyl nationwide in 2023. 99% came from our southern border. In New York, Brian Yennis, Fox News.
Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, breaks down the team's matchup against visiting Miami Dolphins.
Well, of course, a super cold day for us today. That Arctic blast rolled in during the morning hours, and temperatures, they fell fast. It's bitterly cold out there. You could actually take it if it wasn't for the wind, but the wind just tears right through you, and that's what we're going to see tonight. Now, nice shot. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, of course, downtown 7th and Joplin Street. We're looking off toward the north and to the east, and look at the flags just blowing like crazy as the winds are going to be sticking around. Look at this Arctic air. It's 2 in Sioux Falls, 3 in Lincoln, 13 in Kansas City, and these temperatures will continue to drop. Now, we've been kind of hanging out upper teens to near 20, but most of us are going to drop back right around 12, 13 degrees later on tonight. Still, those northwesterly winds kicking in. They're going to back down a little bit, and then they'll start to really kick back up once we get into tomorrow afternoon. So right now we have wind chill values about 0, -5 to about 5 above. These are going to drop as we go through the overnight hours. Let me stop for you tomorrow morning. -12 Iola, 2 Neosho, -5 in Nevada. Let's continue into tomorrow evening. Look at these wind chill factors. -5 to -15. So dangerously cold temperatures. Watch this, Sunday morning, -20 to -25 degrees. Don't forget about the pets. They don't like being outside either. All right, so this storm system rotating out of here. We're clearing out. We will get some clouds in here as we head into late tomorrow morning. There's a weak little wave, may give us a few flurries. Next storm system building out across the Pacific Northwest. That's the one that's going to give us some light snow as we head into Sunday. Now, until then, we look okay. It's just going to be bitterly cold. 10, 11, 12 degrees tonight. Let's go into tomorrow afternoon. You can see a few light little snow showers, mainly in our northern counties. High temps, only about 16 or 17 degrees. Watch the temps bottom out tomorrow night. -1, -2 degrees when we start the day on Sunday. Let's move to 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Look at the light snow, moderate snow once you get into our southern counties, but bands of light snow through the evening, and then periods of light snow Sunday night into Monday morning. I want you to notice the temperatures. We're about 5 degrees, so anything that drops will stick. So let's look at amounts. Now, I like to start low and work my way up. So these are conservative, dust into an inch in our northern counties. Let's say Pittsburgh, Joplin, 1, maybe 2 inches, closer to 3 in our southern counties. There's a better chance of these amounts going up than down. But of course, either way, we're going to keep our eyes on it as we go through the next 48 hours. So we are going to have some road impacts on our snowometer for Sunday, also into Monday. So be careful, of course, with the cold, and then also some light snow. Alert days next 3 days due to wind chill advisories, also some snow, dangerously cold, near record lows. 17 tomorrow, only 8 8 for a high. On Sunday, only 11. On Monday, -2. Start Tuesday morning. Finally, we get just a little bit above freezing as we go into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Elise?
All right, thanks, Doug. And with these cold temperatures, you might feel inclined to pull out a space heater. But first, you should be aware of the potential dangers these devices can have. Earlier today, I learned some tips to keep you safe and warm while using your heater. As cold temperatures hit the 4 states, many folks will be grabbing their space heaters to warm up. Those using space heaters should be aware of the risks that come with heating your home.
Space heaters are necessary, but they are dangerous.
The Webb City Fire Department says around 1/3 of house fires in the winter time are related to heating devices like space heaters. One of the main issues that cause fires, extension cords.
If you're using an electric heater or a space heater, plug it directly into the wall. Do not use extension cords or power strips. A lot of those aren't designed to take the heat and they'll overheat and cause fire themselves. So always directly into an outlet.
Now, proper placement for your space heater is crucial. You're going to want to make sure it's about 3 feet away from any combustible materials and your kids.
Never leave a space heater in a room alone with unattended children or pets.
If your space heater is a little older, you might want to ensure that it has the proper safety features that are on space heaters on the market today.
The space heaters are going to have the same safety features. If they tip over, they're going to turn off. And there is a variety of them. Some have, just the wires in them. Some have ceramic plates. Some are quartz.
And always ensure the product you're using has a symbol of trusted safety and performance.
You want to make sure they're all, they should be UL labeled. Don't, be careful buying stuff off the internet because you never know what you can get. They don't have to be, sanctioned under some of the government programs.
The Webb City Fire Department also says to make sure your space heater is turned off when you know it will be unattended. Coming up, another blow against Boeing.
Boeing is facing a class action lawsuit and an FAA investigation after an incident on board an Alaskan Airlines flight. I'm Alexandria Hoff in Washington, and I'll have more on the federal response coming up.
Boeing now faces a class action lawsuit and an FAA investigation after an incident on board an Alaskan Airlines flight. The company says it acknowledges the mistake. Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff has more.
1 week after a door plug blew out midair on an Alaskan Airlines flight, the Boeing company is facing a class action lawsuit. The suit was filed in Washington state this week on behalf of multiple passengers on board that Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircraft. They're asking for injury compensation, saying when the aircraft depressurized, it, quote, physically injured some passengers and emotionally traumatized most, if not all, on board. During a Tuesday meeting, Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun acknowledged the company's mistake.
We are going to approach it with 100% and complete transparency every step of the way.
Since the incident, the FAA temporarily grounded Boeing 737 MAX 9s and on Thursday announced an investigation into whether the company, quote, failed to ensure completed products conform to its approved design and were in condition for safe operation and compliance with FAA regulations. Boeing saying it will cooperate fully.
I got kids, I got grandkids, and so do you. This stuff matters.
But the incident is the latest to plague Boeing's 737 MAX series. The company is still feeling the effects from 2 deadly crashes nearly 5 years ago.
And at some point, you have to look at the management and say, wait a second, why does this keep happening? Why is the entire fleet grounded yet again?
And on Friday, the FAA announced plans to increase oversight of Boeing manufacturing and audit the MAX 9 production line. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Up next, Maverick could be taking to the skies again with another Top Gun movie possibly in the works. Another Top Gun movie possibly on the way. One of the co-writers for the last film, Top Gun Maverick, is said to be penning a new script for the next movie. He's aiming to reunite Tom Cruise with his next-gen co-stars Miles Teller and Glenn Powell. The director of Maverick is set to return, but moviegoers won't be seeing a trailer anytime soon. Cruise is currently working on the 8th Mission Impossible movie. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. 2 people are killed when a dirt bike crashes into a pedestrian in Mays County, Oklahoma. Plus, a Missouri teacher is recovering in the hospital after a fight with a student.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy. Authorities say a man on a dirt bike struck a pedestrian while fleeing the police. The incident happened last night just before 7 on Main Street in Choteau, Oklahoma. The driver of the dirt bike, Brent Maynor, and the pedestrian, John Farmer, both from Choteau, were pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities in Jasper County are searching for a man they say stabbed an 18-year-old in the neck at a bus stop. This is a surveillance image of the suspect in the car he's believed to be driving. Authorities say they responded to the bus station in Dunweg and found an 18-year-old from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, with a stab wound in his neck. He was taken to the hospital and is said to be in a stable condition. If you have any information on the suspect on this case, you are asked to contact the sheriff's office. A Missouri teacher is in the hospital recovering from injuries sustained during a fight with a student. She says it started with an unprovoked attack, and what happened next was caught on camera. We want to warn you, some viewers may find these images disturbing. Brent Solomon has a story.
Take a look at how a student drags a 65-year-old science teacher who's already on the ground. It appears the teacher tries to restrain the student as the student kicks and throws blows. It happened outside of a Normandy High School classroom Wednesday. The veteran teacher taken to the hospital shortly after.
Is she in pain? Is she okay?
Oh yeah, she's banged up pretty bad. I'm at work and I get this video. She was circled up.
Greg Stanton says his significant other told police a student left class and eventually returned to get her book bag. When she told the student to wait, he says the student pushed past the teacher, grabbed her book bag, and attacked the teacher.
Well, where were the police? Where were the parapros?
In a statement, Normandy Schools said, "We have launched an internal investigation to gather all the necessary facts surrounding the incident, and appropriate actions will be taken based on findings of these investigations."
Teaching is one of the most difficult jobs in the world.
Education consultant Ian Buchanan is a former principal in Normandy Schools.
What does a teacher do? Let's say hypothetically a student swings at you. What's the ideal response?
There are a number of techniques that many teachers have been trained to use and execute. And so I think first is to resist that first reaction to response in a defensive way. I definitely wouldn't want it to be an eye for an eye, so to speak, or a tit for a tat. At the same time, just in case you didn't know, teachers are human beings. And so we can talk about all of this theory about what is supposed to happen, but when you're confronted with those situations, who knows what might happen.
A bit later, using the virtual world to solve a real crime.
This may be the first time a video game was used to solve a major crime. I'm Eamon Dignam in New York. I'll explain how it all went down coming up.
Well, of course, a super cold day for us today. That Arctic blast rolled in during the morning hours, and temperatures, they fell fast. It's bitterly cold out there. You could actually take it if it wasn't for the wind, but the wind just tears right through you, and that's what we're going to see tonight. Now, nice shot. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, of course, downtown 7th and Joplin Street. We're looking off toward the north and to the east, and look at the flags just blowing like crazy as the winds are going to be sticking around. Look at this Arctic air. It's 2 in Sioux Falls, 3 in Lincoln, 13 in Kansas City, and these temperatures will continue to drop. Now, we've been kind of hanging out upper teens to near 20, but most of us are going to drop back right around 12, 13 degrees later on tonight. Still, those northwesterly winds kicking in. They're going to back down a little bit, and then they'll start to really kick back up once we get into tomorrow afternoon. So right now we have wind chill values about 0, -5 to about 5 above. These are going to drop as we go through the overnight hours. Let me stop for you tomorrow morning. -12 Iola, 2 Neosho, -5 in Nevada. Let's continue into tomorrow evening. Look at these wind chill factors. -5 to -15. So dangerously cold temperatures. Watch this. Sunday morning, -20 to -25 degrees. Don't forget about the pets. They don't like being outside either. All right, so this storm system rotating out of here. We're clearing out. We will get some clouds in here as we head into late tomorrow morning. There's a weak little wave, may give us a few flurries. Next storm system building out across the Pacific Northwest. That's the one that's going to give us some light snow as we head into Sunday. Now, until then, we look okay. It's just going to be bitterly cold. 10, 11, 12 degrees tonight. Let's go into tomorrow afternoon. You can see a few light little snow showers, mainly in our northern counties. High temps, only about 16 or 17 degrees. Watch the temps bottom out tomorrow night, -1, -2 degrees when we start the day on Sunday. Let's move to 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Look at the light snow, moderate snow once you get into our southern counties, but bands of light snow through the evening, and then periods of light snow Sunday night into Monday morning. I want you to notice the temperatures. We're about 5 degrees, so anything that drops will stick. So let's look at amounts. Now, I like to start low and work my way up. So these are conservative, dust into an inch in our northern counties. Let's say Pittsburgh, Joplin, 1, maybe 2 inches, closer to 3 in our southern counties. There's a better chance of these amounts going up than down. But of course, either way, we're going to keep our eyes on it as we go through the next 48 hours. So we are going to have some road impacts on our snowometer for Sunday, also into Monday. So be careful, of course, with the cold, and then also some light snow. Alert days next 3 days due to wind chill advisories, also some snow, dangerously cold, near record lows. 17 tomorrow, only 8. 8 for a high. On Sunday, only 11. On Monday, -2. Start Tuesday morning. Finally, we get just a little bit above freezing as we go into Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Elise?
Coming up in sports, the Kansas City Chiefs prepare for their chilly playoff game against the Dolphins. Plus, the Fort Scott Tigers look to stay hot. Brock Baldridge has the highlights and more up next.
Well, we are just getting started for conference play in the SEK. The Fort Scott boys and girls basketball teams are off to blazing hot starts. The girls remain undefeated while the boys are 7-1 to begin the year. Fort Scott home tonight facing Field Kinley. Both teams come in with winning records into the night. We start things off in the first quarter. Abby Gorman dribbles down the court and then she stops and pops in the three-point shot. Lady Tigers lead by 5. Later in the quarter, it's Allie Brown who almost loses the handle as she regathers and gets the toilet bowl flush there for 2 points. Still in the first, Coffeyville looking to draw something up. How about Kaylin Karen, who banks in the three-point shot here to make it a 6-point game. But Fort Scott's quick to respond as Allie Brown going to shoot this ball from the top of the key, knocks down the 3 ball. Lady Tigers lead by 9. Late at the end of the first quarter, it's Karen who passes to Brooklyn White, who beats the buzzer with a layup here. Fort Scott led at the half by 12, but in the second half, Keegan Yark takes over the game as she hits the three-point shot here. And later in the game, it's Yark again, gets the rim and the foul. Fort Scott goes on to win this one 58-40. The Lady Tigers are now 8-0 to begin the season. Over to the boys' game now. Fort Scott home in front of a big crowd taking on Coffeyville. Fort Scott will start this game off with a jumper made by the big man, Rocco Lafredo. Later in the quarter, it's Lafredo again as he scored Fort Scott's first 8 points of the game. Later in the half, Spencer Goldson, Fort Scott, hits the rainbow three-point shot here. Nothing but net. Tigers lead by 13 to start the game. But Field Kinley, well, they get their first points of the night from their big man, Griffin Adamson. To the second quarter now. Fort Scott looking to stay hot. Spencer Goldston with an NBA range 3 here from long distance. And closing minutes of the first half, it's Goldston who goes to Derek Kegler, knocks down the wide open three here. Fort Scott bounces back from the loss. Tigers going to beat Field Kinley tonight, 57-35. Well, it is playoff week, and the Kansas City Chiefs are putting in the final touches ahead of their wild card game against the Miami Dolphins. Of course, everyone's talking about what the outdoor elements will be like this week. Some outlets are predicting that the wind chill in this game could be as low as, well, negative 30 degrees. It's the fourth time in franchise history that the Chiefs have met the Dolphins in the postseason. Unfortunately, history's not been with the Chiefs side when these two teams meet in the postseason. Of course, it's the second time this year that both these teams have played each other, with the first being in Frankfurt, Germany.
Look forward to the challenge of playing the Dolphins again. Should be a great environment up at the stadium here, and I know our fans will be fired up and ready to go. I mean, it's cold's cold for you, me. I mean, it's cold is cold, but you go do your thing. That's how you go play.
It's like I said, it's just new. It's new. It's a new feel. It's a new challenge to, find ways to get open. It's a new challenge to find ways to get wins. I think I went up to Amenahu after one game or during one game and said, man, we just got to become a team that just grinds these games out, man. It's not the same NFL as it was for us a few years ago, and for whatever reason, when it comes down to third, fourth quarter, we just got to be able to grind it out as a team.
Well, wild card weekend begins this Saturday for the Chiefs. And with that being said, that brings us to our playoff edition for this week's Minute with Mitch.
It's playoff time, and this week the Chiefs are preparing for maybe the coldest postseason game they've ever had. It's also easy to take for granted that Kansas City has won 11 postseason games the past 5 years, after winning 9 in the 57 years prior to that. My mind goes back to last season when veteran Carlos Dunlap, who had never won a playoff game in 12 seasons, won his first, when the Chiefs beat Jacksonville in the divisional playoff round. And I remember the tears in his eyes. How about this year's team? Linebacker Drew Tranquill, who lost the only playoff game he's ever been in. Take it from someone who waited 21 years for a playoff win. You never forget the first one. This week, the Chiefs will try to advance. But for a couple Chiefs, it's even bigger than that. On this Minute with Mitch. The Minute with Mitch is brought to you by Como Jewelry. Every day's game day, Como Jewelry, Pittsburgh, Joplin.
Yeah, definitely going to be a chilly one out there, Arrowhead.
Yes.
And I've seen some ticket prices go as low as $38 on secondary markets.
Wow.
But I think you would have to pay me in order to sit and watch a football game that cold.
Like one of the coldest games ever played at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yes.
Can you believe it? It'll be interesting. I feel like maybe they might have the upper hand still against the Miami Dolphins.
We'll have to see.
All right, back with more news after this. Police rescued a 16-year-old girl in Florida in what may be the first ever case of video game helping to solve a major crime. Fox's Eamon Dignam has more in this edition of our ongoing Fox on Game series.
A missing teenage girl is located in a very unusual way, thanks to one of the most popular online video games. The FBI asked for help while looking for a 16-year-old who disappeared from her Ohio home. They eventually tracked her down to Marion County, Florida, where she was staying with 31-year-old Thomas Ebersole. He was then arrested for traveling to meet a minor to engage in sexual activity, interfering with child custody, and sheltering an unmarried minor. But detectives were only able to locate the missing teen after she logged into her account in the massively multiplayer online role-playing game World of Warcraft. Reportedly, the teenager started playing the game using her personal account, which the FBI tracked to the town of Dunellen, where authorities also tracked a login to the suspect's account. After denying he knew the girl, Ebersole eventually gave in, saying he had driven to Ohio to bring the victim to Florida, claiming he was in a romantic relationship with her.
He had plans of hiding her in his home, away from her parents, away from, other eyes that may notice that a 16-year-old girl was living with this 31-year-old man. And he said that he had plans that one day she would be his wife.
And the twists keep coming. It turns out Ebersole's ex-wife, Sarah, has been missing since March of 2023. But there's no evidence at this point linking the two cases. In New York, Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
Coming up, we'll learn how one Kansas City milk company is showing their love for the Chiefs ahead of tomorrow's playoff game. Well, it's not uncommon to see businesses in the Kansas City, Missouri area show their love for the Kansas City Chiefs. That includes one milk company, which has been part of the community for decades. And as Alan Shope found out, they are using their bottles to show just how much they love the hometown team.
Milk into my family has been from the day I was born.
Yeah, Barbara Chateau with Chateau Milk Company says the dairy has been around for nearly 80 years.
I grew up here helping my parents milk cows.
Yeah, it's been a huge part of Kansas City and the Northwest Missouri community, moving from 80 cows to more than 500 now, churning it out year after year and officially to the public in 2003.
It's just been phenomenal.
And so has this little bottle dedicated to the Kansas City Chiefs.
My husband always said he wanted to make milk fun for people.
And this one is a winner.
Chocolate cherry is just a specialty milk that we did for the Chiefs, because whenever they do something big, we do something big for them.
Yeah, these unique Chiefs bottles have become one of their best sellers, and every time the Chiefs win something substantial, they change.
Our cows moo when they hear the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, maybe.
Chateau has been making milk from their farm near Osborne for more than 20 years, but these specialty Chiefs chocolate cherry mix bottles came to Kansas City about the same time Patrick Mahomes did.
We've actually sent our chocolate milk and winning milk with Andy Reid and Mahomes on the plane when they went to the Super Bowl.
And they're hoping the cows and the Chiefs can churn out another one.
If they make it and they get going to the Super Bowl, look out, because we're going to have a new specialty bottle for them.
Something we're all more than half and half about.
It makes milk fun.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with the video of an albino ocelot in Colombia. We'll see you back here next time. Thanks for making us part of your night.